All right, we're getting down close to the end of the regular season. The games feel a little bit more important, even though coaches like Chip English here are going to tell you that each game just matters the same. We're going to find out this Friday night. This is the Under the Lights podcast presented by KEYSYS. I'm Kyle Parmley, your host. As I mentioned, joined by Hoover head coach Chip English today. Coach, thanks for joining. How you feeling right now?
Feel good. We had a good day today out on the field. So this week's a little bit different with Monday and Tuesday. The kids not coming to school, but overall feel great. The guys are excited, ready to go.
Yeah, so you guys are hosting Thompson this week, and this has been like the rivalry of the last decade in Class 7A ball. Just how cool is it when you these two premier programs get to face each other, and a lot's on the line for you guys this week?
Well, it's huge for our guys. When you talk about a high school experience, you talk about games like this. So having our guys being able to play in big-time moments and big-time games like this, both cities come out and support. The Med will be packed out. So it's what you want. It's what you want to prepare for. It's what you want to coach for. And then it means a lot.
Yeah. Where do you feel like you guys are right now? It kind of seems like things are starting to round into form a little bit. 4 in a row on the win column.
Yeah.
Where are you guys at?
Yeah, we're close. And that's a word I would describe us as. I think we can be a pretty dangerous team, both defensively and offensively. But we're close on both sides. We have some mistakes we have to clean up each and every week, but I feel like when we can put it together, we're a pretty dangerous team, and hopefully that's this week.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but it does seem like from some of the results this year, even quarter by quarter, there's just these wild swings of when it's going well, like y'all are as good as it can be. Yeah. And then when it's not, the snowball kind of goes in the opposite direction. How do you kind of battle that when extreme swings like that can be a thing?
It's tough. Our guys, we've had moments in the first quarter, we have moments in the fourth quarter where it's like, what is going on? With some turnovers, with some in the kicking game. So it's frustrating at times, but to say our guys hadn't been through a little adversity, that's not the case. So, just putting it all together and making sure we've shown that we can overcome that, and we've shown that we can fight through some of that stuff. So, and when earlier in the year we didn't necessarily with Hillcrest. So, really proud of our guys, the way they've progressed and matured, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Yeah. So obviously, with 2 games left in region play, there's a lot of scenarios going on with playoffs, this or that. How much time do you spend on, I know y'all probably sit around and look it up and see what's possible, but how much of that do you transfer over to the team, or is it just you kind of shield them all from it?
Well, they might look at themselves, coaches-wise. We know exactly the different scenarios and all that, but we have to focus on things that we can control. And that's this week, that's this practice, that's tomorrow's film, that's tomorrow's lift. And so we're putting the best foot forward in everything that we do. So going out, controlling what we can control each and every week is the key to success. And we didn't necessarily do that early, so we really got to make sure that's intact for the remainder of the year.
Well, speaking of film, what do you see on film from Thompson? What's it going to take to overcome them?
Well, Thompson has a really talented roster this year. And so Coach Freeman put a lot of good players out there. And, when you look for the matchups or you look for the weak points, there's not necessarily a lot of them. And so they do a good job offensively, being explosive with Seaborn and his receiving core. And, defensively, they do a good job in the secondary of really tackling, getting ball carriers to the ground. So we have a tall task in front of us, but our guys, we like some of our matchups too. We like our defense. We feel like we got to beat on what they do. And offensively, we can exploit some of their weaknesses. So, it's going to be a challenge, but our guys in the past have rose up to that challenge, especially in this rivalry.
What areas of your team have you seen the most growth from game one to now?
Well, especially in the secondary, when you look at positions on our football team that maybe don't have a lot of experience and having to grow, there's 2 areas. One, in the secondary, we have a lot of talented guys back there, but not a ton of experience. So the way they've been able to kind of shut some people down and do some things on the back end has been really impressive, and excited about that growth. And then, up front offensively, we're still putting pieces together. I don't know if we've had the same starting 5 for more than 2 games in a row this year. And so that's another inexperienced area. But at this point in the year, everybody's getting to that point where you can't use that as an excuse. And, through injury and different phases, we've found our guys and we're going to roll with them. And, it's just a scrappy group. So we're just finding a way to get it done in the run game, and then obviously protecting Caleb so we can get to our playmakers out wide.
Yeah. You mentioned this week's a little bit different with fall break and all that, but is there a different energy in the building when you've got back-to-back rivals coming up like Thompson and then a game with Vestavia next week?
Yeah, there is. And once I've told them yesterday in our team meeting, we're in playoff mode, right? So there's a little extra excitement when it comes to that, where a lot of teams have a little lull right here at the end. We got to actually play our best, and so the guys are up for that challenge, and they know what's in front of us. We don't have to talk about who other people are, and I'm not asking our guys to play outside of what they know or what they can do. I'm asking them to do what they've already done at certain points this year, but do it more consistently.
Yep. So when you start looking forward, I mean, you don't know how many games you'll have left with this group, but
Yeah.
what more can you see from them? Like what's the potential? What's the ceiling for this group of guys?
Well, we have a group that gets after the quarterback and creates turnovers defensively, and then offensively we have a group that we have about 4 or 5 guys that if the ball gets into their hands at the right moment, anything can happen. So we're very excited about like the group that we have and what they are able to do, and it's just a matter of putting that stuff together for an entire game and being sound in what we do, because the plays will take care of themselves if we put ourselves in a position for success.
What's the message to the fans on Friday night?
Grab your popcorn. It'll be a show.
Sounds good. Well, Hoover and Thompson, for the last 8 or 9 years, it's been one of the best games in the state of Alabama. So look forward to another chapter of this great rivalry at the Hoover Met on Friday night at 7 o'clock. Coach, thanks for your time.
Yeah, appreciate it. Go Bucks.
Always great to talk a little Hoover football with Coach English. And when we talk about our Bucks football coverage this fall with Under the Lights, we want to tell you about our friends at Southlake Orthopedics. Less pain, more living. Southlake Orthopedics. They've got you taken care of over there. All right, and when we talk about our game of the week, that's going to be on Friday night. Hoover versus Thompson. It always is such it's a game that always has such a high billing, and we will see if this chapter lives up to it. Once again, I'll be out there. I'm expecting nothing less than a big time ball game. But we've got several other games that impact playoff races. They're all region games this week, and a lot of teams that are looking to either continue momentum, get back on track. Just a lot of teams trying to get in that positioning. You never want to fall short of your goals, and you got a couple more weeks to really finalize what your fate is going to be in the regular season, at least. We'll talk about a couple of other Class 7A Region 3 ball games like this Hoover-Thompson game first. Hewitt-Trussville is going to pay a visit to Oak Mountain. Last week, Hewitt-Trussville had a really tough loss at Prattville. Prattville was able to pull off the upset. They score a couple touchdowns on special teams, and Hewitt just could never quite get over the hump in that ball game. And they suffer a second straight loss, and now all of a sudden the Region 3 standings are in a little bit of chaos. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. How about this? Let's let one more week pass by, and then with 1 week left in the region play, we'll kind of spell it all out, tiebreaker scenarios, who's got to win, this and that, and we'll kind of figure it out from there. But Hewitt-Trussville's still in good position for the playoffs. They've got an Oak Mountain team this week that the Huskies will be favored over. If they can get back on track, they will be in good shape. But this Oak Mountain team's one you got to be careful with. You've got a couple of playmakers, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Guys like Jaden Aparicio, Colby King, guys you really got to look out for from the Eagles side of things. So Hewitt trying to get back on track. A team that does not really need to get back on track. They've been rolling. The Vestavia Hills Rebels, they're paying a visit to Tuscaloosa County. Vestavia has been they've been rolling. Charlie Taft scores a ton of touchdowns every week, it seems like. And the Rebels have been, they pitched a shutout last week, winning 41-0, and they are looking to kind of repeat that performance when they go on the road this Friday night. So a couple of 6A games. Let's talk about Homewood. Homewood is paying a visit to Parker, and this is probably going to be your 6A Region 5 de facto title game. This Parker team has gotten saddled with a couple of losses, but it's honestly they're losses that are to two really good teams. One of them to this Hoover team that we've been talking about earlier. So Parker, the defending 6A champs, they're still really good. Homewood is going to have to go over there and put their best foot forward if they want to have a chance in this ball game. But we've seen some really good things from Homewood. Obviously the loss to Mountain Brook came in overtime in just dramatic, crazy, chaotic fashion. Just as crazy a finish as you could ever imagine. But they got back on track with a big win over Gardendale. They will take it on the road to Parker. They had an off week. They give it a little extra prep time. So we'll see what Ben Bergeson and his coaching staff have in their bag of tricks and see what they can do against the defending 6A champs. And when we talk about Homewood football, that leads us to talking about the Edge. What a vibrant place, outdoor food hall. They got great events every week, live events every week. So they're right off Green Springs, theedgehomewood.com. You need to go check them out as well. All right, another 6A team, Mountain Brook, is hosting Huffman. If you didn't see this Mountain Brook game last week, I still can't quite. It's like the second Mountain Brook game that has just kind of had a crazy finish in the last few weeks. They beat Pinson Valley 39-35, but there were 4 touchdowns scored in just a 2-minute span in the final 3 minutes of that ball game. I mean, just back and forth they win. It looked like Pinson might have had Mountain Brook kind of dead to rights, but the Spartans just were not going to lose that ball game. They kept fighting. Caden Hoffbauer scores a bunch of touchdowns. Stuart Andrews, even though not 100%, he still gets 100 yards. And the Mountain Brook Spartans somehow found a way to win. They'll host Huffman this week, a team that they should be able to take care of. And the Spartans are they're hanging on in that playoff hunt. If they would have lost last week, they would be in dire straits when it comes to the playoffs. But with that win, they can still get the 2 seed in that region, in Region 6. So we'll see if Mountain Brook can back up last week's win with another win. All right, in that same region, Clay Chalkville is hosting Oxford. This Clay Chalkville team, what else can we say about them? They're 8-0. They've dominated almost everybody and then took down Thompson, who, is one of the best teams in the state a few weeks ago. It's Clay Chalkville team. They got weapons on the outside. Corey Barber has been elite in his transfer over to Clay. Aaron Fry's taking the next step as a quarterback. That defense is hard to move the ball on. They're opportunistic as well. I don't know. The Cougars are just they've looked really, really good. They've given no reason to not think that they have a legitimate shot at the 6A state championship as we roll on these next handful of weeks into the playoffs. So they get Oxford this Friday night. The Yellow Jackets are tough. We'll see what Clay can do with them. All right, another 6A game. Spain Park heading to Calera. This Spain Park team has really been on a roll lately on both sides of the ball. We've really started to see that defense from Spain Park step up and make some waves, and that's key. The Jags get a win over Chelsea last week. They're holding opponents. In that same region, there is a big one on Friday night. Chelsea heading to Helena. Both teams at 2-2 in the region, tied for that last playoff spot. And the winner of this one is really going to be in good shape for the playoffs. The loser might end up being on the outside looking in. We'd have to see how all that shakes out. You could get some tiebreakers come into play here, but Chelsea looking to rebound after that game against Spain Park, and they've got a great opportunity on their hands heading to Helena on Friday. All right, a few more games. Just one more, as a matter of fact. Down in 5A, John Carroll paying a visit to Corner. It's going to be a tough road trip for the Cavs. They lost to Briarwood last week, and now they get to go on the road to Corner, which has been like Corner football historically has not been the biggest program, the best program around. But the last 3 seasons, they have been playing at a great level, double-digit wins the last 2 years, and they're 6-1, off to a great start this year. That program has really taken off. And now John Carroll gets to go up and try their hand against Corner. It's going to be a tough one for the Cavs, but I keep seeing, you see glimpses. When you see the Cavs play, you see big plays here, big plays there, and if they could just get those guys, they could make more of those, be a little bit more consistent, and get healthy. This team can beat anybody in that region. So you never. It's about this time last year, if you recall, John Carroll gave Briarwood one of its biggest tests in region play, even towards the end of the season. So this John Carroll team, don't count them out. It's going to be tough at Corner, but I also want to tell you about our friends at Barlow Wealth Advisory Group. They offer a range of services, a diverse set of options, and exclusive access to solutions that may not be available through other firms. All right, and then our final team, Briarwood, taking an open date this week before the Lions will play one last region game next Friday night. So for this week's Under the Lights podcast presented by KEYSYS, that's all we've got for this week. It's going to be a big-time Friday night. Look, last week we had a couple Thursday, a couple Friday. It was a pretty low-key overall week, but this week we've got several games on Friday that have big-time implications, and you never know. Like, once you kick the ball off on Friday night, you never know what's going to happen. But sometimes when the dust settles, I've said it a few times this year, you just think you know what's going to happen, and then stuff blows up, and you're kind of sitting there looking at a scenario you didn't quite see coming. So, like last week, for example, Hewitt-Trussville falling to Prattville, that wasn't one we saw coming. So, who knows what we'll see this week? Hoover-Thompson, this is always they play. Seemingly they had years where you just knew they were going to play twice. Once in the regular season for the region title, and then once in the semifinals to go to the state championship game. It's a little bit different with the way things have shaken out so far this year, but we will see how it goes. This Hoover Bucks team is going to be fired up, ready to go on Friday night against the Thompson Warriors. That's our Under the Lights game of the week, and can't wait to be out there. We'll be covering all the action on Friday night. So all things Under the Lights, Saturday morning newsletter, all those things in the description of this video. Check it out, and be sure to keep up with all of the high school football action. We love talking about it. We love covering it, and we hope you enjoy the coverage as well. So for this week's episode of the Under the Lights podcast presented by KEYSYS, that's all we've got for today. We appreciate you watching, and we will see you on Friday night.